Welcome back to the Aaron's 312 on Fox. Brought to you by Aaron's Sales and Lease Ownership. Let Aaron's drive your dreams home today. They are dreaming of victory lane as they roll the field split by the pace cars to get their pit road RPM. Here's our Prestone starting grid. Joe Nemechek, Casey Kane on the front row. Earnhardt Jr., Ron Hornaday in row number 2. Stacy Compton, Jamie McMurray, all potential winners up the front of this field. Mike Bliss and Scott Riggs in a Ford. Have a look back through the starting lineup and note carefully that yellow line on the right side of your screen. That is the out of bounds line. If you drive down below there, you get penalized. However, that rule has a provision that if you are forced below the yellow line, NASCAR will take that into consideration. The rule on which they got Brian Vickers last week, passing to the left on the restart, had no such provision for what other cars might have done to force him there.
Now, one thing that you can do, Mike, if you do get forced down there and you did pass a car, you advanced your position, you can lift, let the guy go back around you before you get to the start-finish line. No harm, no foul.
Right. As it should be.
Yeah,
you make a mistake, you get to atone for it.
That's right. If you show that you're trying to make up for what you did, or ask for forgiveness, or whatever it is you're doing, then they'll take that into consideration.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, right, Larry?
That's always been my case, especially when it comes to that big red and white truck down there.
The main thing is when you go in there, you've got to have a story, and you better stick to it.
Right.
A couple of cars will have to go to the rear of the field. Shane Mill in the 48 car had to change engines. And Tina Gordon, right before final practice yesterday, making her first Busch Series start here at Talladega, they had to change engines. In fact, she never got to run in that final practice.
That's a one-race deal for Tina Gordon. This is her home track. She's running for Rookie of the Year in the Craftsman Truck Series.
And I tell you, she drove a good race here last year in the ARCA race. I watched her run here. Did a really good job. I think she finished like 10th.
Yeah, she finished actually 12th last year and 10th the year before. And she actually leads that rookie point battle right now in the Craftsman Truck Series.
So Martha Burke, stick to the Masters and leave us alone. We've got a level playing field for women here in NASCAR.
If you can play, you're welcome.
We'll get letters. Oh, well. How about this weather?
Well, considering what it was like about 4 hours ago, I'm very pleased to show this weather graphic right here. 70 degrees, track temperature 95 degrees, a little warmer than yesterday, a little bit of humidity, wind's just blowing around a little bit. Track temperature not meaning a whole lot here, but that wind can make a big difference should it pick up.
Let me tell you, I was down there on the start-finish line. It is hot out there right now. The heat was boiling. The humidity was really boiling up off the pavement.
The longest race of the year for the NASCAR Busch Series, 312 miles.
117 laps is a pretty good little haul here.
And we're going to watch this right here really close because a lot of teams were telling me they maybe can go a little further than that. If you can go about 59 laps, you can do this race in one stop. Tires not that important. We're going to see a lot of teams just changing those right side tires, maybe run the whole race on left sides.
You can do that. I wouldn't necessarily want to, but you can do that.
It will keep you maybe at the front of the pack out of the eye of the storm.
You saw the Applebee's cam on board Mike McLaughlin, who's back in the NASCAR Busch Series.
And he has DWstore.com on the trunk as a payback.
From
to or from you?
I don't know.
Okay.
We never decided.
You saw Michael Waltrip, Scott Wimmer. They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
There's the Dr. Pepper cam for Kevin Grubb. The GMAC cam, Brian Vickers, and the payday cam on the 21 of Johnny Sauter.
And talking to Johnny Sauter this morning, he is happy with that race car.
Well, he should be. That's a great race car. They've had some good runs with that car already. Harvick's won in it.
All right, fellas, it's time.
It is.
And you know, the pace cars dropped them off. The only racetrack that we go to where the start-finish line is not right here in the middle of the tri-oval. It's all the way down the short end of the tri-oval, headed off into turn one. A lot of things can happen, DW. Reach up there and pull those belts tight, please, for 190 miles an hour racing.
Here we come, green flag. Let's go racing, boys. Boogity, boogity, boogity!
Kasey Kahne in the 38 car started on the outside pole. He don't have a whole lot of help behind him. You have to have help here to complete a pass. It's about 5 car lengths back to the 1 car of Jamie McMurray as they're just getting up to full speed halfway down the backstretch.
Most of the first 4 rows were single file. As they passed the flag, they were dropping into line.
And like I said in the pre-race show, you don't plan anything here. You take advantage of what happens in front of you. If there's a hole, then you go for it. You don't make deals with people. You'd like to, but hardly ever do they work out.
Three wide out of turn 4. And to the flag, Nemechek leads the first lap.
Michael Waltrip in the 99 car, the Aaron's machine, he went right up through the middle. Not very happy with his car after qualifying 21st, but real happy with the car at the end of that practice yesterday.
Did you see that right in front of Michael? 4 wide up there in turn 1.
And you're going to hear us say 3 and 4 wide a lot. This racetrack's plenty wide for that, but Darrell, these cars bouncing around, I mean, it's hard to control these cars.
Steve Burns.
I asked Jason Keller just before the race if he had a game plan, and he echoed exactly what Darrell Waltrip just said. He said, I would like to get up there with Michael Waltrip and get to the front of the pack. I did it with him last year, but I don't know if I can do it this time. We'll just have to wait and see how it unfolds.
And of course, Steve, the unknown, this is not the car that Jason won here with a year ago, tore that car up at Daytona. This is a car that they just barely finished before checking in here on Thursday.
And you'll use the middle. You saw Michael do that. He'll use the middle to pass some cars, but you don't want to stay there very long because you'll go up. All of a sudden, you need to go left or right. The holes are closed. So when you're going up through the middle, you want to get in one lane or the other as soon as you can and keep advancing forward. You can use that middle to move forward, but you don't want to stay there.
Looked like Michael just ticked into the back of the Mike Wallace car as he swept around the outside of him. You saw Wallace wiggle there just a bit as Waltrip made the move.
You get such a run on the guy, and you really are, you don't want to lift because you know if you do, you're going to lose your momentum. So you've got to either bump him or go around him one side or the other, hopefully.
I mean, about the front 10 or 12 cars are single file, but you get back behind them, look at them. That's them right there. That's about 13th to about 30th right there, 3 and 4 wide.
And Jamie McMurray, he got off to a terrible start, Larry. I mean, he's all the way back to 20th spot. There he is in the middle right there. Didn't get a very good start.
He did not at all.
Sometimes that's just the product of if these things have got to get the fluids hot, get the engines wound up, and get them going.
And look who's back there kind of at the head of that pack, Kasey Kahne, who's dropped well back from his outside pole position.
He was trapped up there with no help whatsoever.
Starting up in the front, sometimes you're a set and duck. I mean, you're it's a lot better to be in the back and get all those cars to draft off of, and you ought to be sitting out there in the front with nobody to help you.
Jeff Fuller, the former national modified champ, taking a backup car of Joe Nemechek's, but he's pulled it to the garage. And Jason White has been on and off pit road, the 43rd starter. Darrell, it's hard looking at the pictures here to feel the tension that you know is inside every one of those race cars running this close at these speeds in such a tight pack.
Well, you're just at the mercy of the other guy. You know, please don't hit me. And please don't bump draft me, except maybe on the straightaway. You're just sitting there, you're pleasing yourself to death almost. You know, please give me a place to go. Please don't let that happen.
It's almost like riding a motorcycle. You're not worried about what you're going to do, and you're worried about what everybody else is going to do around you.
Exactly. And all that,
I
can't tell you how much turbulence comes off these cars. I mean, there's air moving around, and sometimes they make your cars do things that you just can't control. That's why when you get so close together, 3 wide and all, I mean, you can literally bounce into the guy beside of you and think you got complete control of the car.
Because this racetrack is very rough, Darrell. It's not smooth at all.
And a very aggressive shock package. So when the car hits a bump, it snatches the front wheels off the ground sometime or makes them light.
An 11-car breakaway at the front of the field, and there's Todd Bodine and Jamie McMurray trying to fight their way through the middle.
You ever had your front wheels snatched off the ground?
No, thank you.
It's quite an experience, let me tell you.
6 laps complete this time by. 111 to go. Joe Nemechek has led all 5 laps, or 6 laps now, so far in the Aaron's 312.